Good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, or it could be good evening. This is Reed, and welcome to my strange mysteries as we explore the oddities of the world. Or you're actually watching MOI, and thanks for being here. We got around 340 people. Amazing. 340 people watching crazy me. Never know what to think about that. It's kind of weird, actually. But it also tells me at least some people are finding the message helpful and are liking what I actually do. Please feel free, leave any comments, suggestions, ideas, always open to them. Now today, we're going to cover food storage. And I'm talking long-term food storage. Year, 2 years, something like that. Reed, are we getting ready for the apocalypse? No. If we're dealing with the apocalypse, I actually recommend 7 years. Because the number of problems you're going to have trying to grow all your own food, you're going to have a lot of mistakes. Chances of you actually getting a full crop of food the first try, I consider about 0. Especially with the entire infrastructure being cut off and everything going to crap. The Great Epoch, you're going to have a very hard time. We're back to the 1600s level of figuring this all out. And that's not going to be easy. In fact, it's going to be immensely hard. So if you're actually thinking about the apocalypse, I recommend at least 7 years. I know, sounds crazy. Now, why would you actually want 1 or 2 years of food? Well, there's actually other reasons why. Particularly, what if you got a major disability developed? You were really hurt somehow, and you lost your job. Or you just lost your job in and of itself, and you had a hard time finding another one. Being able to eat is a really big help. Plus, food prices keep going up. What if we had a major crisis develop, the Gulf of Mexico, and all the oil refineries shut down there, and they were shut down for a long time. Like, I don't know, maybe a major tsunami comes in from an underground earthquake and just wipes out the whole side over there. Just gone. We got no infrastructure. Got to rebuild all that. Oil prices might shoot up. Can you imagine if gas in America was $12 a gallon and no one had it? Oh, that'd be bad. Trucks wouldn't be running, and the trucks that were making it to you, well, the fuel cost would be so high, your pound of ground beef, will go from, when it's on sale, from $3 a pound to maybe $12 to $16 a pound. Yeah. Well, it could actually be even worse. If we're talking serious shortages, meat, all sorts of food, staples, everything coming in, if the stores even had the food there, I imagine it'd be probably 10 times the cost. Can you imagine that? Ground beef, $30 a pound? Oy, be bad. That's why supply chain difficulties are a big issue. Our society is based upon a just-in-time inventory system, and when you look at it, really fragile in many areas. Like I said, a tsunami that destroyed a lot of oil refinery facilities, that would be immensely disastrous, not to mention all the lives lost and everything else associated with it. But it would immensely disrupt the supply chain. That's a problem. That's why I recommend having a fairly large supply of food on hand. And food you're going to eat. I really recommend you actually use and eat this food. Make it a part of your daily routine. Because the last thing you need is to be, everything's crap. Dig out the food we bought from, some special on TV. Oh man, this is horrible. I can't stand eating it. Now what are you going to do? Yeah, not a good thing. So a lot of things you want to stockpile, put away, is the food you already eat. Or food that you start incorporating and using and learn to like or really enjoy. There's a lot of things I found I really liked and enjoyed as I started digging into how we develop and cook from absolute scratch. Seems to be a lost art, cooking from the bare basics. I'm going to cover a lot of that in my videos as well. Help educate people that don't have any idea about it either, like I didn't. I knew some basics cooking from scratch, but I had to learn a lot. Still, really helpful. Now, if you're like Reed, hey, I just need to start stocking away food. Well, there's a guy, Steve from Corsair Trainers. He's covered this really well. Has a whole starting out, 72-hour kit, then moving on from that. Really good video series. I'll put links to it in the description, plus a link to his channel. I highly recommend you check it out. Saves me a little time from starting from the bare basics. But there's a couple areas I am going to add to later, just not this video. Now this video, we're going to show how to Mylar and protect food for long-term storage in a 5-gallon bucket. Yep, and we're going to vacuum seal it and put an oxygen absorber in there. And I found an interesting way of doing this. I found a vacuum sealer that works quite well with Mylar. And with a little bit of work, it works well with a big Mylar bag for a 5-gallon bucket. Now let me show you what one of these Mylar bags look like. Here is a Mylar bag for a 5-gallon bucket. Yeah, they're pretty big. I buy the premium thick Mylar bags because I found out that a lot of the cheapies, well, I get them sealed up, use them, and I find out they leak or a little hole develops in them because the food inside is actually a little, prickly or odd shaped and it easily pokes a hole through there. Really annoying when you go, why is this bag no longer vacuum sealed? Don't like that. I make certain to buy a premium Mylar bag, meaning it's extra thick. I get these from a company called Pack Fresh USA. They do a good job. I'll put a link to them in the description so you can check them out. You can find stuff on Amazon. I've used them in the past. However, it's kind of hard to tell where stuff's coming from Amazon a lot of times. A lot of people don't mention in their descriptions if it's USA based or not. I've had stuff, shipping from China. And I get a little suspicious at times when it's unknown and I'm concerned about what it is, especially when it's on my food. I'm just kind of a little worried. So I like to pick a company that's got a reputation that's in the US that I can yell at if I need to. It's a really good thing to have. This is the vacuum sealer I use to accomplish this with. Yeah, it's odd looking. It's strange, but it does work. It's a little hard to find sometimes. I used to get this from Amazon, but I haven't seen it on there in a while. But I'll put a link to one of the current suppliers I know of in the description so you can check it out. I think it was like $130 when I bought it, and it does a really good job. I've been using this one for years. It's a little weird, but it does a really good job. Now, unlike those food savers and stuff, what it does is it's got a little tongue here that sticks out. This goes into the Mylar, and then you push this down, and it grabs around it. So this tongue here is what sucks all the air out. When you're done, it snaps back, pulls back into the unit, and then the heat strip here seals the bag. Works great. But it's a little odd. And the procedure for packing this up in Mylar is a little odd as well. However, just watch carefully, and it'll make sense. You can see what I'm doing. Now let's get everything pointed down. Take a look at the buckets. We are joined here by my lovely Mrs. Lee. She's going to help because it's sort of a two-person job. I've done it by myself, but I tend to drop things, makes a mess. It's far easier with two people. Here we have black beans. I like black beans. Very tasty. You make refried beans with them. Trust me, refried black beans are really good. You can make black bean burger. You can make all sorts of baked beans. They can go in soups. Good staple to have around. I'll cover some ways of cooking them later if anyone's interested. Now, if you guys got any killer recipes for black beans, put them in the comments. I would love to hear about them. Love trading recipes with people. I know, that sounds like some old grandmother thing, but trust me, making certain your prepping food tastes good is important. Very important. And like I said, using these very commonly and oftenly is really good, especially for those of you that have kids. The last thing you need is to start having to cook your stockpile of food, put it out for the children, and they're like, what the heck is this? And they refuse to eat it. Not any help. Believe it or not, humans are one of the few other species that will refuse to eat to the point of starvation. It's very strange. Cats are like the only other animal I know of that does that. But cats and humans, both weird. But we're good. At least I think so, at least. Anyways, one of the problems I used to have was, how do I know if I got enough food to fill the bucket? Well, it's a really obvious answer looking at this right now. You just get the bucket, put a bag of beans in there until you reach the top. And I recommend every time you're at the store, just grab a pack of beans. It's a, $1.50, $1.60, something like that. Throw it in there. Or a pack of rice. Once you get to the top, hey, you got enough food to fill the bucket. There you go. A lot easier than buying a whole bunch and going, does this fit or not? Because I used to put the Mylar bag in there, start opening the packages. I'm like, oh, I'm short. Oh, or I got way too many. A lot more effort. This is obvious. I don't know why it took me so long to figure it out, but here's the answer to the solution. Just stack it up in there, and when it reaches the top, you got enough. There you go. Move on. Hopefully that tip will help some of you. Here's a bucket preset. I have this one filled up with chickpeas or garbanzo beans. Either way. See if you guys can see that. Now, when you're filling this up, you don't want to fill to the brimming top. It's not going to work very well. What you actually want is about this much of a lip. You can go a little higher, but about there. The reason is, these lids here, they need a little bit of room to sit on this correctly. And trust me, if you get too high, these just are not going to fit on here. I use the lids here that have a rubber seal in them, right up here. Works really well. Now I've used the regular other lids, and they work just fine too. What's nice though about this rubber seal on that, it's going to help prevent stuff from getting in there. That means that your Mylar has less exposure to things getting in here, and less work it has to do to protect things. This will make your food last longer, or at least help it last longer. And I do recommend getting this kind of lid. If you can only get the other types of lids, go for it. Having food stocked away, even if it's not the ideal way or perfect way, or you just don't like this kind of lid, is better than not having it, at least in my book. So don't let holding up style of lids or something like that from putting food away. Just put food away. Now, let's get going on the other part. These are the oxygen absorbers. Now I've opened this pack up because we've been sealing some buckets. So you can see it's starting to turn a little purple. It means oxygen is in there. When we're done here, I'm just going to seal this back up, and this will turn pink. Then it'll mean there's no oxygen in there. I buy oversized oxygen absorbers, so I have some time to work on these as I'm sealing everything up. Take your oxygen absorber, put it in with your food. Now what we're going to do is cut some ears. What we're going to do now is cut some ears off. So we can make it so that this fits on to our vacuum sealer very effectively. My little helper is going to grab at this corner for me. I'm going to take a pair of sharp shears to cut this. These are electrician shears. You can buy them in the electrical section at Home Depot. Work great. Recommend them for this. There we go. We've got an ear cut off. Whoop. Grab our vacuum sealer, bring it around. What we're going to do is just seal, meaning we don't extend the tongue, which is this part here. Line this up, get it set down, get this straight, or as straight as I can manage here. Push it there. All right, close it. Now for premium Mylar, usually need about a seal time of 6 to 7. And then I count off about 3 or 4 beeps at the end. Let me show you. Press firmly on the bar all the way across. This will ensure a good seal. Open it up and take a look here. Yep, we got a good seal all the way to the edge. We have melting marks all the way across, which is just what I want to see. Now we do the same thing to the other side. Line this up. Yes, the cuts aren't going to be perfectly straight. That's fine. Here, turn this way. There we go. Line this up as best you can. Yeah, it's hard to get perfectly straight cuts, but as long as it seals, you're good. go for another sealing. All right, I see heat marks all the way across. See them on the back going into the main seal, all the way there. We're good. Run your finger in here on the inside, put a bit of pressure on it. Yep, you're good. And what you got here is a nice tiny lip thing at the top or something. And this will fit in here perfectly. So she's extended this. This is the, sucking tongue, I guess you could say. We put it in here, line it up. Okay, shut it. And then what I do is I grab this before we turn it on. What I'm kind of doing is making an air channel. You got a lot of air to suck out. It needs a little path to go at least. Go ahead and turn it on. And we wait. All right, that looks good. Push that down. It's gonna pull the lip out real fast. Now we're sealing it. All right, look here, we got a good thermal cross all the way over. Looks good on the back. And you can see what we got. Now it's not to the level of vacuum sealing I think you'd find vacuum sealed coffee in the supermarket, but it's fairly well vacuum sealed. This is gonna be great. Now why on earth would you take the time to vacuum seal and all that? All those other channels have got things where they show people using hair curlers and everything else to seal this up. Well, when you pull out as much oxygen as you can, and you put the oxygen absorber in there, good chance the oxygen absorber is going to be able to suck every last bit of oxygen out of there. That means it's going to kill all the insect eggs or other things that are living in there. Very helpful to long-term food storage. Now we take a rubber mallet and pound this away, and I aim for some fingers. She just loves it when I get her fingers. There we go. Fully sealed bucket, ready to last up to some decades, I would say. I would highly recommend, like I said, rotating these into your normal food. That way you're not pushing the outer edges of food life. Last thing you need to do is discover, this really tastes funny. It's not a good thing to find out in an emergency. You want things to taste about the same, normal. Be normal everyday life. So even if things have gone crazy, really, life at home hasn't gone that much crazy. Plus, food is a super important morale booster. Keeping, your food supply nice and normal and uninterrupted, and getting a lot of the types of food you like to eat will really help keep your morale up. Very important, especially if you have children. At least I think so. Yeah. And what we usually do is label what's in here, label when we sealed it, and put the date and the month, the year, What we usually do is we label what we put in here, we list that we sealed it up, and we list the month and the year we did it. Now one thing to note, if you package up sugar, do not put an oxygen absorber in with sugar. It's going to make things taste really weird. I don't know why, it just does. It's one of those oddball things out there. Also, rock salt or one of the things like that, just put it in the bucket. You don't need the Mylar. I mean, it's a rock. You got no worries about it going bad. Just seal it up in a bucket, put it under your house, put it outside, someplace shielded from any weather. You're fine. There's my tips on those two things. Other than that, everything else can handle an oxygen absorber without any issues. I appreciate all of you for watching, taking a look at Reed's view of how to store food in Mylar bags and 5-gallon buckets. I do hope the tips were helpful and it taught you something new maybe you hadn't considered. Hope you can also understand the reason why you might want a much longer stockpile of food than just, a week or two. Like I said, we could have a major supply chain disruption and the cost of food just explode. That could be really bad. Really, really bad. Or you could lose your job. And having your food bases already covered makes it a lot easier to deal with something like that. Hopefully the video was helpful. I hope everyone got to learn something. I do hope you leave some comments or questions or suggestions. Always like to hear from everyone. I do hope that you enjoyed it. Leave a like. Do share the video with your friends. The more people out there that actually take the steps and start putting stuff away, the better it is for all of us, especially in hard times. America, we've been so blessed. Very few of us actually have any idea what hard times are like. It's amazing. Tons of other countries remember them because they were actually, attacked on their soil. They lived through World War II and saw all that. For some reason, America's been really, really blessed. And I think that blessing has really made us forget that not thinking about putting away for tomorrow is sort of the rarity. It's not how everyone's been for history. We've always planned, prepared for the winter, and having stuff away for hard times. And so we're sort of the oddity that our whole culture shifted to be immediate gratification, just-in-time delivery, all these sort of things. And you don't have to think very far ahead. It's very strange, very odd point in history. And I don't think it's going to last that way. It's only a matter of time till you end up with a major calamity. And our systems are so interconnected and put together that way that one thing can cause a cascading failure. It's very hard. Complex systems are very prone to cascading failures. And American society of today is an extremely complex system. So I highly encourage you to get some extra food. Check out Steve if you have no idea where to start. He shows exactly where to start. Take care, everyone. Leave a comment, share it, like it. Really appreciate it. Channel needs to grow. And this is Reed, out for now.